That's when the
letting your
thing happened.
screen.
Brilliant. Cool.
gentlemen, you join me here live from our studios in London. I'm Adrian J. Williams, and tonight on BBC, in collaboration with CNN, we will be bringing you tonight's election night broadcast. Now, we are just moments away from the exit poll release, which will give us an indication into who will win the general election July 2026. Who are our contenders? We have For Britain, led by Dean Heathcote, the National Democrats, led by Baron Project Shaw, the Action Party, led by ZC Investor, and the Unionist Party, led by Not Chocolate Plays, all four of whom are previous Prime Ministers. And soon we will be heading off to the exit polls, which we'll be introducing in any second now, and give us our first indication as what's going on in the Westbridge election. As you can see on our cameras, we will be bringing you coverage from Westbridge, where many of the citizens of the area are flocking to see the live map of, I think as well. We will just be bringing you the exit polls in about 2 minutes or so, I've just been told. So do look forward to that. And from there, we will be able to get a first little indication as to who will win. Later on, of course, we'll be bringing you results as they come in from leisure centres, village halls, town halls across the country as we reveal each seat that comes along. And okay, folks, the exit poll is just coming in any second now. Should be bringing you them in about 25 seconds or so. As voting comes to a close, we will then have a good indication as to who forms government. Now, obviously, polls are polls, not everyone passes. Well, that is our exit poll, folks. As you can see, it's just hit 8 o'clock. Voting has now closed. And as we can see, we have a predicted 7 seats for the National Democrats, predicted 17 seats for Britain First, 6 seats for the Unionist Party, which is a drop of 5, and 14 seats from the Action Party. So 7 gains for Action, 17 gains for National Democrats and For Britain, and a drop of 5 seats for the Unionist Party, with a sample size of 71 votes. So that gives a good indication that it's going to be a really tight election contest there between the National Democrats and For Britain, which will go to show that it's going to be very interesting when it comes to coalition negotiations, if these polls are correct from, of course, YouGov, who brought this information to us in partnership with BBC. And the next interesting part will be coalitions. Now, obviously, the Cosmocrats, Action Party, and the Unionist Party have all just come out of a rather long coalition together for about a month and a half. Obviously, the National Party is now merged into the Cosmocrats to form the National Democrats, but there is still that link. So hopefully we'll be getting on some faces from the top 2 parties in a moment, and we'll bring them up hopefully very shortly to hear from them. But from the time being, we'll be listening to some voices, and then eventually, once the results start pouring in from across the country, we'll bring you to them. As you can see on the screen there, we've got live coverage from the election map that is in Westbridge at the moment, which will show each constituency pop up as the results are announced. Now, joining us very shortly, we will be bringing on to you the leader of the National Democrat, or sorry, the deputy leader of the National Democrat Party, Kingmaster, who was obviously until recently the leader of the sorry, brain's just blank for a second. The National Party. So hopefully he should be coming on in just a moment to give us a little chat. We're just waiting for him to join. Oh, hello, Kingmaster. How are you doing, mate? Hello, Kingmaster. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
That's good to hear. No, I'm doing very well, mate. Now, I hear we've just got the exit poll come in. You are predicted to be on 17 seats. How are you
Yep.
feeling about that in the National Democrats?
Well, I think the sample size is 71, correct? For this specific exit poll. I feel I choose to believe to the poll that was done in Question of the Day, where we had much more votes than anyone else with a much higher sample size. So that just in general represents what the people would vote for, like from the community itself, not just from the party servers that like every party pinged for. So the election itself has been a very interesting and a very dynamic one. I think it's the highest turnout since March 2025, which is incredible, which is an incredible feat by itself. And it's a more dynamic election, a more exciting election with exciting politics, exciting policies, exciting things that have been happening in an election, which is very good for the group, nonetheless, regardless of any election result, because it simply keeps politics alive. And it's something that we've needed for so long, given politics has been so one-dimensional, so conventional, and so, how do you say, and very just unremarkable in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you that we have needed a bit of a change up for quite some time. The last few elections have all been quite sort of samey, and it does seem to be that who perhaps haven't taken as much of an interest, certainly from my experiences, seem to be a bit more interested in what's going on at the moment. I do think a lot of the parties have done. They've all worked a lot harder than they certainly have done in the past. Now, obviously, your party, the National Democrat Party, is a merger of the Cosmocrats and National Party, which seems to have worked quite well for you. You seem to be doing very well indeed. You've got a mixture of voter bases, a mixture of talents. How are things going over at the National Democrats at the moment?
Well, frankly, we don't have any expectation of any sort when it comes to seat range. We are just trying our best until the polls obviously close, and now we're just focusing on later in the night, like when the seats get released. And actually, I'll probably be the first one to inform everyone, but the release for the seat release is going to be delayed by 30 minutes because of a backlog of validations. So
Yes.
that's going to make things a little more interesting, in my opinion.
Yes, so I've been told it will be pushed back a bit now. There is an individual who was recently had his restrictions lifted for things in the past. So I suppose it is a big election though. So I suppose with more votes, you're going to have to do more verification. But how? So going back to the merger, then obviously the National Party was its own party, and the Cosmocrats was its own party, and with the Cosmocrats leading the previous government and the National Party, being on the opposition benches and scrutinising it. Has there been any clashes there at all with voters and or even people within the party? Obviously, you scrutinised a lot of the stuff they did, and when they came in the last election campaign, they scrutinised a lot of things you did, for example.
Yeah, and that is completely normal for any party that is in opposition. Well, I think the main reason why I decided to go for the merger is the fact that over the past term, I would say even at the start, even like a month ago when I just became leader, Barend DM'd me and he spoke to me about how he wishes me good luck and he thinks I'm a good person and that we will always have a good relationship regardless of politics. And I said, yeah, I think so as well. And we've been talking all the time, even when we were leaders of opposition parties. And on a personal level, I really like the guy. He's a great guy. Also the most he's also the most liked politician according to the question of the day poll by far as well. And so Barend is liked on a personal level because he's just a good person. He doesn't necessarily take politics, he doesn't necessarily treat you just because of politics, just because of being on the other side of the aisle, for example. And Barend and Kabir, I have a good personal relationship with them, and I knew this merger would work because we make a good team, and we have for the past week since the parties have merged. And that is, I think, one of the reasons for this immense success so far. And I think this is going to continue for quite some time.
Certainly sounds like quite a good mix by the sounds of things. Barend is quite a respectable figure within the community.
Mhm.
As you said, obviously I've worked with him in the past as well in the previous government. Got a lot of respect for the man. But we'll have to see how things go. I mean, at the moment, you guys are doing very well. You seem to have come out on top on pretty much all the polls. And the exit poll, it's very close there between you and For Britain, of course. But it does seem that the National Democrats have ran a very good campaign. You've gone up by 90 members in your server. Have you seen that as sort of increased amount of grassroots action to get you then there, or?
I would say it's just hard work by everyone from both the former national side and the former Cosmocrat side. What impressed me so much is that people from two different parties have been able to come together, as John Lennon would say, and the Beatles, of course, and they worked together. They worked hard day and night, including myself. I've actually done some DMing at 5 or 6 a.m. when the campaigning was open, of course. I'm not trying to get a deduction or anything. So it's been just immense work from everyone, and I just hope that it pays off and we do manage to get our reward and we do manage to uh, reap what we sow or sow.
I mean, that's how these things work. You put a lot of effort in, and hopefully it will translate into something. Now, if we look at coalition partners, if the exit poll is correct, or any of the polls, I don't
Yeah,
think
there's only
anyone's
one
got a
option
majority
here.
here. So only one option. Would it be the Action Party?
I mean, if you do the maths, well then yeah.
I see. Now, I mean, obviously, you could
There's
always
no
coalition
there's
with For Britain, or
Oh no,
equally
I have to say, that's probably ruled out because
ruled out.
we've been fighting against them this election, and that they've been the ones that are the complete opposite to us, the complete opposite to what we stand for, and this is one of the reasons why uh, we just fought so hard because we
I
want
see.
to win and we don't want people like that to get into government. We do everything we can, and it's just
Wasn't the National Party slogan "Vote National, Get ZC Out" in the last term?
no,
I mean, you had that on posters in Westbridge, did you not?
just once, yes.
Just once. Do you
Yep.
still stand by your criticism of ZC?
Well, the criticism was for multitude of things, such as obviously your sacking, because the situation was rather a mess. There's also several other things, and of course we need to sort of put these things into account and see where, if we were to coalition with VC, for example, would he still be chancellor again? I don't know, because I'm not the leader of my party currently, and that is not up to me, but I don't necessarily think ZC is a bad guy or that he's an incompetent guy. What I think is that he messed up slightly last term, and that's something that needs to be fixed. It can be fixed. There can be given second chances, but of course, I'm not a hypocrite to, say, to pretend that something didn't happen last term just because now we're on good terms or something like that. We were always on good terms, personally. ZC, when I first became leader, he DM'd me and wished me good luck, which I appreciate a lot. And people in the Action Party don't seem to be so bad. I mean, I personally, I like everyone. And I think that things can always change, and they have changed in the past. For example, I didn't really like Not Chocolate for quite some time, and then we went into a government with him. Or the fact that I really fell out with Harold in May of last year, and then I became his leader of the House of Commons in September. So things in this community, because they change very often, and that's part of politics. It's not necessarily something that you should hold a grudge against a person for, like, not being able to do something at a certain period of time. I myself, as foreign secretary, had to resign because I was inactive, and things change. And in this regard, you have to sort of respect the fact that people have a life, the fact that people can't always be active, and that is something that can affect their performance as a cabinet minister. And that's something that I completely understand because I've gone through this myself. Now I'm completely free and I can guarantee my activity if I do become a cabinet minister and if we do get into a government. In, for example, April, I couldn't. And that's something that changes all the time. And that's something that I think people should respect. And so in that regard, I have absolutely no doubt that ZC can do, that ZC is capable of holding a very good high office, and he is competent enough. Is from last term was his activity, which is not something that is static. It can always change, and that's something that I have seen change because of Action Party's dynamic campaigning, and they've been doing pretty well in campaigning, and I can admit that. I have some people in there that I quite like, and they don't seem too bad of a party, so I wouldn't rule out anything with them, and I think they're good people, just as everyone is, and we have the least amounts of disagreements with them, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, you're right. Things do change. I mean, I spent, my time as the 4-star chairman slating Michael Rothschild and the Greg's Party for, all sorts of things, and then ended up as their chair. I later became their chairman in the form of the Cavaliers and Unionists, and worked very closely with Michael. And obviously spent much time criticising government, and now I work with him for Britain. So I suppose things do change a bit, but you get on with people with how they sort of do, normally putting politics aside. But yeah, no, that's interesting. So you mentioned earlier For Britain and why you wouldn't want to coalition with them, and you said you were on a completely different side of them and you don't like that sort of politics. Could you elaborate on what that sort of politics is that you don't like about For Britain?
Firstly, we both have 17 seats. Who would be prime minister? Dean has a massive ego, which would not let him not be prime minister in a coalition. And secondly, it's just against everything we stand for. They do not have a proper manifesto with the full proposed cabinet. Their cabinet is very inexperienced, with Berio being chancellor when he hasn't held a single cabinet position.
He's a businessman of a leading company.
Well, so am I. And
it makes you a good candidate for chancellor.
Does it though?
Well, yeah, you've got business experience. That's what the Treasury is all about. Also, Berry has worked within, Companies House. So you see how the registration process works. You don't necessarily need to be a political
job is the most demanding job in the cabinet, and it's something that you get scrutinized for. You're responsible for budget, and if you don't have any experience in politics, then you're going to get crushed very easily. And in that regard, we got Udikated as foreign secretary. Fair enough. I don't think he's held any office he hasn't held any office related to the Foreign Office. So I don't know about that. That's also quite doubtful. But also the fact that This has really been a one-man campaign. He's claiming that Rowe, or however you pronounce his name, has been his deputy leader when he's absolutely nowhere to be seen. And you see that Tony Blair guy is the actual deputy leader and his
Well,
right hand.
Tony's the chairman, so he is going to naturally be quite a prominent voice.
Yeah, of course. So it's just like he brings him back for anything he does, and it's just nepotism at its finest. And honestly, I do not think a coalition with a party like For Britain would work well at all. It's just not going to work, and it's something I think you should accept. And they stand against everything we stand for, and we stand against everything they stand for. And that's just, it's normal in politics to be the complete opposite, complete polar opposite. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, a coalition, a grand coalition is not happening.
I see. Okay, well, that's time then.
It's not
Cheers for
because
that,
that Bellend on.
Kingmaster.
So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Our next guest we'll be bringing up to join us, folks, is none other than
Bellend.
Dean Heathcote himself. So we're just going to get him into the studio in just a moment. As you can see on our cameras, we're still getting footage there from Westbridge, and Dean should be joining us very soon from For Britain, of course, as their leader, and hopefully he can. If he's been listening, he would have had sort of some of Kingmaster's points and can debate those. Hello, Dean. How are we?
I'm doing good, thank you, Adrian. It's good to see someone else presenting this. To be honest, it feels very surreal. To be honest, to be on the other end.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? This first selection night for me, where I've got the other end. You see, I'm now presenting it rather than the one being interviewed. So
Yeah, it's opposites day.
yeah, it is indeed. But yeah, anyway, Dean. I mean, how are things with For Britain? How are you feeling ahead of the election? Are you confident?
I mean, it's a tense feeling. I was just talking in
Mm.
the general chat with some people, and I was just telling them how there's this sensation you get as a party leader where you very much, this is the night where you find out, am I getting something out of the effort I've put in? And sometimes, sadly, the answer can be, oh, I've not really gotten much back for it. And I hope to be feeling a lot more positive in hopefully about 1 or 2 hours time. I hope to come away with a good result. But voting's closed. Ultimately, the results are sealed. At least once the validators have done their job, and my fate's in the hands of the community here. What's done is done. Just gotta
Yeah,
wait and see, haven't we, Adrian?
absolutely, mate. Now, Kingmaster's just been on, and obviously you've both got 17 seats in the exit poll. How are you feeling about the exit poll results? Do you reckon that you'll sort of go beyond them in the actual poll?
I'm hoping we go beyond it. I think that's a hope that every single leader looking at that is saying that they're very. I think everyone is saying to themselves right now, we want to get more than this. It's a very hung parliament. It's very worrying. But one thing I want to say, obviously, as the For Britain leader here, is that with how the National Democrats have kind of been campaigning, the way that they've kind of been saying, oh, it's a bit of a done deal here. We've got like 50 more members than For Britain have, and they were the insurgent party. They kind of, maybe they got comfortable. I don't know. Maybe the exit poll is completely wrong. Maybe it's just because exit polls are exit polls. But
Mm.
it's. I hope to go beyond it. I'm. I am happy though that we are like equalising with who I see as the biggest rival at this election, and yeah, I think every single leader is going to tell you the same thing here. We're hoping to go beyond it. We're hoping to secure a resounding win.
Yeah, of course. Now, Kingmaster has just come on and said that he pretty much wants to rule out a coalition with For Britain. I mean, obviously, that's not up to Barron, who, of course, you're good friends with. But if that's the sort of feeling of the party, that's definitely going to have an impact on that sort of thing. And then that sort of leads. Well, the Unionists aren't going to be enough for a coalition partner, so that leaves Action. Who do we sort of looking at if there are coalition options?
I'm going to say the same thing I said at the debate. Going to keep all options open. I see no reason to sit here and tell you I don't like this person, I don't like that person. There's no point saying that because anything can happen on election night. tomorrow Noosa might come back from the dead and invade us, and we might need a national unity government to smite those Americans once and for all. Who knows? Anything is possible on a Monday such as this.
This is
But
very
in all, yes. Oh, sorry, Mr. CNN. But I should never. I've learnt my lesson from dissing broadcasters that help me. All right, I've learnt my lesson. But no, really, anything can happen. I'm not going to sit here and slag anyone off now because what's done is done. We've campaigned, we've had fun. It's now we look at the results and we decide how Britain's going to be governed. And I'm happy to come to any kind of arrangement that benefits this community, benefits the activity of it, benefits as many people as possible, and is obviously a good deal for me and my party members and for Britain. So that's my answer to you.
No, absolutely, Dean. Now, King Master did say earlier that when he was, going through For Britain and analysing it, he
Uh-huh.
pointed out that you've been obviously the main face of this campaign because obviously you've got a big platform, but he was pointing to, the lack of other faces, as he put it. Although obviously then he went on to say that Blair had been everywhere as well. So,
Kind of
what would
contradicts
your sort
himself
of counter
sometimes.
argument be to that? Yeah.
I mean, we got me, got Blair, got Callum, we got Game Riley, Simply Barrio. I mean, do you want me to keep listing off people in the server that we have as part of our team? The point is,
Yeah.
the party is bigger than me. I'm the face because I like to think I have an electable face. I've ran several good campaigns in the past. The fact is, it's an election strategy. I think if the National Democrats had an electable face, they'd be doing the same thing.
Mm.
But old strategy. I hope that it works out. But that's it's a very unique one that I've kind of gone for this time around as compared to my Labour campaigns of old. But it's tonight we'll see if that pays off, and I hope it does because ultimately I want to be the leader for Britain, not just my party for Britain, but for the nation as a whole, the community as a whole. So that's why it's a very leader-centric campaign. It's a proportional representation system. You're not voting for a local MP, you're kind of voting for leaders and party brands here, and you're voting for Britain, you're voting for Dean R. Heathcote. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, brilliant. So obviously you also let's look at the campaign. For Britain has done quite a different campaign. You've brought back political
Mhm.
rallies. I don't think any of those have been done since the September election. I don't think. Saw the pictures. I wasn't around for that, but I think that was the
Mm.
last time they did them. How have
Yes.
your rallies gone? I haven't been around for them personally because I've been busy. But what was the sort of reception like?
I mean, the aim with the rallies was always to put out, put our best foot forward. It was always, we are the party that will bring activity. We're the party that will give opportunity, and we did exactly that with the rallies. We had a very nice police presence, ambulance presence. Saw plenty of council vehicles over at the the last one, like the cage vehicles in the Clayton Park rally. Um, Ultimately, we were the party that I think pushed on Westbridge the most with like events, not just deploying people in orange shirts to walk around aimlessly and find some lonesome voters to prey upon. I think we went very bombastic with it, and I hope it pays off tonight because that's that and more is what we ultimately want to do at For Britain, and that's the basis of a government that we want to form. So it was a shame to not see many of the other parties leading, following that example. But I guess that kind of just really shows the options, doesn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in general, how do you think the campaign has gone, just from the overall sort of thing? I mean,
I mean,
King Master was
voting's
saying the
yeah.
entire election's definitely stepped up from all parties, isn't it?
It's a very interesting one. I'm going to end up turning into electoral analyst here, so forgive me. But this election is seeing very good turnout. That does indicate that there's a lot more, I think, passion involved on all sides, which is really good to see. That's a healthy sign for politics. Um, on top of that, we're seeing a lot more sort of effort being put into messaging and like coordinated, uh, what you would call it, consistent messaging as well from the parties, which is also again a very good thing to see. There's actual strategy at play. There's actual themes at play. I think many elections of the past can't really compare to that, and this one has done that. So from all parties, that's an absolute positive, really. So that's very good. And it's been a very thrilling campaign. I mean, we've been wrought with struggles with regards to the spam filters and spam
Mm.
prevention technologies of Discord on the sort of For Britain sides, and I think maybe the Nat Dems might have ran into it a few times themselves. Who knows? But we, you just have to keep pressing on. You just have to find ways. You get in game, you do rallies, you speak in stages. That's what we did. We adapted, and I really hope that pays off tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got quite a few Westbridge regular faces within your party. Obviously, you own,
Mhm.
the largest beer industry, or the largest pub industry within Westbridge. You've got
Mm.
people like, Beria, who runs a
Yeah.
um, bot company that serves pretty much for the Westbridge companies. You got people like Game Rolly who are always in there. You've got people like Callum who are always in there. Do you think that's going to have much of an impact on voters at all? Do you think that's going to be quite a good strategy? Have you picked who you've surrounded with yourself with carefully on that regard?
From the beginning, I wanted the campaign to be as relevant to the community as possible. I think with the National Democrats, you look at the faces there; they're all very political. They're very much part of what we called back in like 2022, like the Westminster bubble. Um, I know that was a big theme of like one of the Liberal Democrat campaigns. I think it was a. I know she's running as an independent, so if she
Mm.
is listening to this, I'm giving her Lib Dem era a bit of a shout out there. But I think the National Democrats, they had a lot of people who are just very much in sort of the Westminster side. And don't get me wrong, I was raised in the Westminster side myself, but it's important to diversify your party beyond that. You need to assemble a team that fills the skills that you yourself might not have. I like to think I'm good with politics and good with drinking, and I'm certainly okay with the broadcasts. But I need people who obviously represent the public services, people who represent the private sector, people who represent even the normal citizenry, people who, we need representatives from all corners of the community to make the best government possible. That was a central focal point of the For Britain campaign. Beyond obviously this face here that you see, that being of mine, we had just the people who made that up or make up that party were very much, the bread and butter of the community. And I'm very much hoping that propels us to victory tonight. I think that's something we have over the National Democrats, and it's just a question of will it pay off tonight? We're not going to know until the results come in.
Absolutely. Now, Ali, just going back to that, Kingmaster did it sort of accuse you earlier of your strategy
Uh-huh.
of putting people in. He specifically used Barrio as an example for Chancellor, who
Uh-huh.
he claims hasn't got really. I mean, obviously, he's been an independent MP, so he does have some experience in the political system.
Uh-huh.
But he was pointing more to the fact that he hadn't held a government office before and that Chancellor's a very intensive thing. Now, obviously, I've sort of counter-argued that a little bit with, he's businessman. But what would you say to that sort of point there from Kingmaster?
We seem to be quite schizophrenic sometimes in politics, where one minute we want statesmen leading departments, and the next minute we want like policemen in the Home Office. We want barristers in justice, leading justice. We want like economists or business owners leading the treasury. Like it's sort of very technocratic. I think For Britain's gone very technocratic. We've very much gone with like party of experts, hence like Berio and Game Rolly and Callum, like those kind of people in the party. I think that's a better strategy than to just stack yourself with like former PMs necessarily and just putting solely statesmen. I think you do need people who have the skills and traits in the sectors they are going to be looking over. Um, there's an argument for both ways, but I've leaned towards the more sort of technocratic side, and I think ultimately that is the right side, especially as we as a community do expect our representatives in Parliament, our statesmen and parliamentarians, to be able to know what they're talking about. We expect a chancellor to be able to know the private sector. We expect a Lord Chancellor to be able to know, Barrett, like the judiciary. We expect a Home Secretary to know the public services like kind of the back of their hand. So that's kind of where we're leaning towards at For Britain. And I mean, Kingmaster, he definitely leans on, I think, the political side of things. Again, most of the National Democrats do. That's definitely something they have. It's commendable, but we've gone with a different strategy that hopefully is obviously more resonating with the average voter of this community. Ultimately, again, the bread and butter of the community, and that hopefully will carry us over the finish line. And I'm hoping voters trust me and trust my team on that.
Absolutely. I mean, within the National Democrats, you point out, you've got Barron, Kingmaster, Righton, Kabir, Stewart, Casels, Slip, some random chap from Northern Ireland, Secretary Charles Stewart, and all of these are quite experienced parliamentarians. Although some of them also do double act as experienced people as well. I mean, Stuart Freeman's just come out as a judge, I think he was. So yeah, I suppose you've got quite a bit of this election. I think you've had lots of very experienced people
Mm.
fighting against each other, haven't you? So you've had quite a fight.
It has been quite the fight. I think it has been quite a clash. I mean, although I've not seen a lot of Barons this campaign, and I know I have made a criticism of that in my campaigns, that it's very much been sort of Kingmaster and Kabir kind of doing a lot of the coordinating on the front line for the Nat Dems. Whereas obviously for Britain and whatnot, it's kind of been. I mean, I do like to think I've been leading from the front, alongside with Blair and Callum and others, Berrio and Game Rolly. So, and Ruh, of course, a fantastic deputy leader. It's I think I've very much been leading on the front. I don't think Baron's really been doing a lot of that. I think he's delegated quite a lot to Kingmaster and Kabir. And although they are very talented individuals, I think they've really shown their skill this election in being able to just gnaw into the vote and just gnaw into the electorate and obviously garner votes. That's commendable. And I imagine they'll probably be part of the sort of next generation of like super campaigners, kind of like Blair and Theo Novak of the past, and kind of those type, and Safe Chatter, like those kind of individuals who were just able to rinse votes out of nowhere. I think Kingmaster and Kabir are potentially on the bleeding edge of that now. I'm just sort of hoping that we've had a message that I think resonates better with the average member of this community. We're not just statesmen. We're businessmen. We're barristers. We are members of the public service. We are members of this community as much as you, and we want a government that is governed by those kinds of people and not just statesmen in grey suits. So I'm hoping that strategy is the winning one, but we're going to find out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of finding out soon, we are expecting to receive the votes within the next few minutes. Just as an update there, folks, obviously they're still having to validate the last few votes. We did just receive an update from the Electoral Commission saying that they're validating the last few votes, just to keep you all informed.
I do have one final notice to make.
Go on. We have got a bit of time, so go ahead.
Yeah, I do apologise to usurp you. I promise I'll hand it back to you soon as. But I wanted to quickly clarify to people that the Great Election Pledge is going to happen this election. I did not make a post on it during this election, as I did not want to then be accused of you're using charity to try and gain votes. It's no, I didn't do the announcement on purpose. So I'm doing it now that voting is closed. But I just wanted to say that the Great Election Pledge is on. I have been talking to a very special member of our community, Daniel Hunton, who is, of course, going through chemotherapy due to his cancer diagnosis and whatnot. And I would very much like to recommend he's the kind of charity that he chose for. I think even his one that he donates to, and one that I think many of his former party men in the Unionist Party donated to, which is a Teenage Cancer Trust. So I'm very much going to be donating my 10p per valid vote to the Teenage Cancer Trust at this election in respect of Daniel Hunton. And if people would like to do their own contribution to any, like all the other elections before this, to do their own contribution to a charity of their choice, a fixed amount, or 10p, 5p per vote, for instance, then feel free to let me know. We'll obviously publish the list kind of as per, and yeah, just thought I'd quickly announce that before we get to votes and seats and whatnot. Just want to announce that. So yeah, Teenage Cancer Trust is the one I'm picking, just to shout that out.
That's brilliant, Dean. I mean, Great Election Pledge is something you've been running for several months now. There's raised quite a lot of money. So yes, of course, anyone that is listening and has money on them, even if it's just a small amount, I do suggest putting something towards that, even if it's only a little bit. Just sort of relevant to how much you can do, really. But yeah, I think it's a good way we can come together as a community and support good things. Roblox LARP effectively.
Yeah. The also the £10 for each to a charity of each party leader's choice is also still happening. So I'm doing £10 on behalf of Baron Chocolate and Zach. So just to also announce that, so that's also still going to be happening. They've chosen some very good charities. I'll show it on the list soon, but they've picked some very good ones as well.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks, Dane. I haven't really got much else to say, although we are still awaiting results. So I suppose I'll just have to blabber on for a little bit. But cheers, thank you very much, Dean, for coming on. It's been great to have you on, and do enjoy the rest of the election evening. Good luck to yourself and, of course, all the other
Mhm.
candidates.
Thank you very much, and do
And
enjoy hosting this. Make the most of it.
will do.
Adrian.
It's a good experience. Cheers. Thanks, Dean.
All
Right,
good.
well, that was Dean Heathcote from the For Britain party. We are expecting the results to be coming through from the first few leisure centres and village halls and all the rest of it. Polling stations as results are announced across the country in just a few minutes. So we are waiting on those. They'll be appearing on the election map on Lethbridge, which you can see on screen for all of those who are there in person. And we will hopefully start seeing which of the the total of 54 seats up for grabs. Of course, is the independent ballot as well. We will hopefully be looking at getting some independents on between votes coming along and being drip fed through the between when we get the results. Let's have a look at who our independents are. We have Leah VNX from the Northern Ireland constituency, obviously from the Unity Party, who's been now, since Dean has now left as an independent, has gone on to launch his own party. She will be the longest serving independent. And is the only incumbent independent that's seeking re-election. We then have Ariba Astor, of course, who is a previous Prime Minister and has just left the National Party to then go and launch her second independent campaign, which she initially ended before being elected, to go on and venture on with the National Party. That was the January election, I think it was. And we are hopefully in results very, very soon. The other independents we have is Polak 3, his third campaign, I think, and polling is putting him in as getting elected this time around. We have Lewis T5E from the he's also running as independent. He's just left the Social Democrats and is running his first independent campaign, I do believe. And then we have Javedan, who, of course, was a Solidarity MP, then went over to Social Democrats and is now running his own independent MP. Currently, he's polling to be the only independent not elected. I can't remember who did that poll, but there was a poll for that. So we'll see how they get on with things. But I mean, that's just polling. We don't know for certain until the results come out. I've just been told validation is done, and we are just awaiting the numbers to come through in just a moment. So we will soon start getting the first few results in from the Electoral Commission. As those are announced, that would be great to see. I've just been told the poll was BT Media, apparently. Right, so we have the first few results here coming in from County Durham, which is the incumbent seat. I do believe, or up until now, has been a national seat, I think. Hang on, no, it's not. I can't remember where County Durham is, but that is a gain for the National Democrats Party, and Northumberland is a gain for Britain. Up north, those are our first two results. So County Durham, National Democrat gain, and Northumberland for Britain gain, just coming through there. I'm just trying to see who was the previous holder of the seat. Hang on. County Durham was a Cosmocrat seat. Sorry. Yeah. So Cosmocrat it was a Cosmocrat seat, which obviously now for Britain. So I suppose that's a technical hold, although it's technically a gain because it's a new party. And then Northumberland was a Social Democrat seat, so still staying within the for Britain sort of seat. So they've stayed within their original parties essentially that have obviously merged into new ones, but the voter base is still carried over to those new parties. So the two biggest parties have won their first seats, and we will see as results come through. But yes, hopefully we can start getting some independents on as well at some point. I'll just have to liaise with the crew for that. I've been told that results will be coming in a little bit faster than usual this election as well. They're counting things up. So yeah. But no, that's really good news for those two areas. I mean, it's carried over from the original parties. So I'm sure for Britain, and I'm sure the National Democrats are celebrating their first gains for the election. Obviously, the Unionists and Action Party will later gain their own seats as things go on. We hope, well, hopefully they get seats. Or they might get 0 seats. You never know. But that is where we are at the moment. For Britain, 1 seat. Action Party, 0 seats. Unionist Party, 0 seats, and National Democrats, 1 seat. We will be bringing on an independent in just a moment, because obviously there is the independent ballot. I cannot remember which area is being contested. Although, hang on, we might be holding off on that, as I do think we are receiving votes. We should hopefully be getting some results coming through in just a moment by the looks of things. Right, so yeah, so they have just come through. So Bradford is a Action Party hold. South Yorkshire is a Action Party gain from the Social Democrats, which was Lewis's seat, who's obviously now as an independent. And Ayrshire and Border is a Unionist Party gain, I do believe, which has historically been a Unionist Party seat, but since went to the National Party, I do believe, and is currently being held by Stuart Freeman. Before that was Reba Aster's seat, so that's 2 former independent seats that have just been announced. And now we've got 2 former seats that were held by 2 now independent candidates, rather. So we've got our first 3 results there, or second 3 batch of results. Bradford, South Yorkshire, Ayrshire and Border. So all 3 parties now have won a seat. The Action Party are on the most at the moment. They're on 2 seats. For Britain on 1 seat. National Democrats on 1 seat, and Unionist on 1 seat. So it's quite close at the moment. But yes, we will now shortly be bringing our first independent on, hopefully. But as you can see, lots of stuff going up in the north. So sort of north of England and sort of south of Scotland there, and then we've got a little bit further south of that with the Action Party seats coming through, with Bradford and what was the other one? South Yorkshire. So you're sort of looking, yeah, quite northern territories at the moment. Obviously, Bradford and South Yorkshire are quite industrial areas, quite left-leaning areas, and then up north you've got a mixture of different parties going on there. So we'll just be bringing up our first independent in just a moment. We've got Lewis coming on, and hello, Lewis. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing really good, thanks. So how are you feeling about your independent campaign? How's it been going?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. I didn't expect to get as many supporters, especially on the question of the day. That was mainly my real signal that this is going to be a good campaign. So I really did a last minute push, as many people may be known. I was in VC quite a lot, trying to bond with
I'm just
voters.
gonna have to hold you there. We've just got our next set of results. I'll get back to you in a
I'll
moment.
wait.
So Ealing and Hillingdon is a For Britain gain, which was originally a Social Democrat seat. Lambeth and Maritime Greenwich is an Action Party hold, which is Martin Lyme's seat. And Richmond upon Thames which is, of course, the Liberal Democrat dictatorship Heartlands, which is a Cosmocrat seat originally, is now a National Democrats gain. And then our first independent has just come in, and much to people's doubt, it is none other than Dryden for the Greater London constituency, has just won his seat as an independent candidate. So that's our first independent there. We are now on 2 seats for Britain, 3 seats for Action, and 3 seats for the National Democrats there. So looking quite close up at the top, although it's still very early days at the minute. But yeah, anyway, sorry, as you were saying, Lewis, what were you saying? You've got quite a positive reaction, you were saying.
Yeah, we got quite a positive reaction, which I was quite happy about. Obviously, we got the manifesto, the first independent manifesto out. Actually, thanks to V Hierarchy, because they did the graphics on that and really helped me out. I'm pretty happy that just now Jaden got his seat. Well done, Jaden. What else was I gonna say? As I don't have a lot more to say unless you have questions.
I mean, what prompted you to do an independent campaign? Obviously, you were a Social
Ooh.
Democrat MP, and now For Britain's come about. Is that? We've just been told there is a recount in Richmond upon Thames. Family voting's been ongoing over there, and I'm pretty sure someone was accusing the Action Party of encouraging family voting, but it's now the National Democrats doing just that. I think it was GB News, Alexander Arden, who's a good friend of some of the National Democrats. So that's quite funny. Anyway, as you were saying, Lewis.
Oh, I'm happy for Jaden. The reason why I ran is because obviously I was in Social Democrats, and I felt that For Britain, who was obviously run by Dean, it didn't really meet my values correctly, nor did any other party. So I decided I think I need to give a new voice to the people. Obviously, I'm a pretty new politician in the world of SOVs. My political career only taken off when Ruher gave me my first real big front bench job, which was being a chief whip, which was, I think I did a decent job at. Obviously at times I wasn't doing my best job, but we're only humans. We can only do really the best we can try and do. And I think that's what my campaign's been really based off of, obviously in the manifesto forward. That's what I heavily played upon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so what sort of ideas are you hoping to bring to Parliament as a new? I suppose you've always been an MP. I mean, you're a fairly new MP, as you said, but you've been in Parliament. But now you're free of the party reins, should you be elected. What are you hoping to do?
Well, I do have a main focus on the Home Office because that's obviously where my expertise mainly lie. In the past, June budget, we did see obviously an increase in net Home Office funding, which I quite welcomed. We saw a decrease in the Public Service Fund, which was like the funds that go directly to public services, and it's usually split like 3 ways across all the public services, and that's like their free money. But that saw a cut down from 1,600 down to like 1,000. Obviously, if you do 1,000 divided by 3, that gives out at only 333, when 1,600 divided by 3 spews out at 533. That was obviously to allow Plotto, which was introduced by the last government, which I've also heard wasn't distributed. But obviously, my good friend did obviously get unfortunate news, so I do understand why that was not distributed, obviously. But in the next government, I would like to see an increase and boost in that funding, obviously, for the public service.
Okay, I've just been told we have a new results just come in. There is a National Democrat gain, which was originally, I think that was a Unionist seat, so they just lost their seat. That was Mary J. Hill's seat. Highland and Grampian is a National Democrat gain from the Unionists, I believe. And Avon is an Action hold. So Action still keeping many of their seats. Unionists have made some losses there to the National Democrats, which is obviously on the centre-right, I do believe, or the right, certainly, much like the Unionist Party are. So some voters transitioning from the Unionists to the National Democrats by the looks of things. Sorry, as you were saying, Lewis, about, I can't remember what was you were saying.
I think it was about what I was hoping to introduce.
That's right, yes, go ahead. Yes, budgets, yes.
Yes, well, I've completed my talk on budgets, but I wanted to say the justice sector is not my expertise, so in my manifesto I didn't really touch upon that. Obviously gave
Yeah.
a few words, but I didn't want to make promises which could harm the sector adversely, because I don't want to get involved in a sector that I don't know the best, because I think people just get annoyed if that happened, because I know for a fact people would get annoyed if in real life, especially if someone who has no clue about the Ministry of Justice started like saying to the justice sec, you need to do this, because it's like I obviously touched upon thriving businesses about BBC. Obviously, it's a bit ironic because we are on a BBC broadcast, also hosted by the CNN, though. But I was talking about how we've had like a leadership change practically every couple of months, which has like thrown the BBC a bit sideways about how to present, because obviously people have been resigning but not been teaching the future generation of BBC how to run it. So I'm hoping to like get some mentors in or something to really help boost the BBC. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So I'll get to you on your mentor point in a minute, because I think that's quite interesting. We are just waiting for the next few results to be coming in, so I don't want to sort of interrupt you too much and forget. And our results are here. Lewis, you'll be very pleased to know that you are the new independent MP for Yorkshire. So congratulations, Lewis.
Thank
You've
you.
won your seat. Manchester is an Action Party hold, which is Teaspoon's seat. So he will be staying as the MP for Manchester. The National Democrats have gained a seat in West Mercia, which was originally a National Party seat, was the seat of prominent member Asimplistic. So I'm sure he'll be very happy to be presumably keeping his seat if he's being reselected as the candidate for there. But there you go. Those are the latest results. So well done, Lewis. You're an MP now. Well, obviously, you were an MP before, but you're an independent MP now. So how do you
I
feel?
feel freed. I need to say my thank yous, obviously, because an independent's not an independent without their support. You know, if no one came out and elected me tonight, I'd probably be crying in a corner as we speak, probably rage quitting the VC, but that has not happened, people. So I'm pretty delighted. Thank you for the congratulations in a political discussion. Obviously, I'm also first time being up on any broadcast and stuff, so that's also another thing.
Oh, there you go.
I can't wait to see if Leah and Polak, especially Polak, and obviously Reba get their seats, because they're really nice people. You know, I haven't had any problems with them this election. I don't see a reason why they won't get elected. They're all got their own political minds, and we may as well get as much enrichment as we can with the next government, because as the exit poll predicts, it's going to be a pretty close one between parties.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Lewis. It's been great to have you on here, and congratulations on your seat. Do take care, and I hope to see you doing well in Parliament. So, yeah, do take care. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming
It's been
on.
a pleasure.
Well, there we go, folks. So we've got 2 independent candidates elected, and we should be getting the next batch of results very soon. For Britain on 2 seats, Unionist Party on 1 seat, National Democrats on 5, Action on 5, and then 2 independents, as I said. So Action seems to be doing rather well. They were going to be the sort of third party, the sort of middle-sized party, but at the moment they're leading the charge of the National Democrats, and they seem quite friendly, so it's very likely they could form a coalition there. Although you never know, For Britain might catch up with votes. These things do happen in elections. It's still relatively early days. Of course, only 13 of the 54 seats have been announced, so there is plenty of time for things to change. Right, so let's have a look. The next set of results has just come through. The Richmond upon Thames recount has finished. What was originally declared as a National Democrat seat is a For Britain gain, which was originally a Cosmocrat Party seat. Cambridgeshire and Bedfordshire is a National Democrat gain, which was originally a Unionist Party seat. This is a seat of Thames, right? So Unionists have lost another seat there. The Finchley and Enfield seat which is a Unionist Party seat at the moment, is a hold. That was Clark's original seat, although he's obviously stood down as a candidate. And then the Welsh Independent seat has been won by Polak. So that is now our third independent elected. The other two independents, Reba Asta and Leah VNX, remaining. It is very possible that all five independents could very likely be elected to Parliament, but we'll have to see how things go on. Obviously, with Dean now stepping aside and leading his own party, votes do seem to be a bit more evenly spread amongst the independents. Obviously, we don't know the actual numbers until the figures are sort of released at the end of the election. But that's where we are at the moment, folks. So we've got a whole bunch. For Britain has definitely got 3 seats now, I do believe. Action seem to be doing relatively well, still on their 5 seats. I think National Democrats have 6 seats, if I'm correct. And then Unionists should be on 2 seats now, I do believe. Although, do correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they've been updated on the screen just yet. So that's just me trying to do maths off the top of my head. We should hope to be receiving the next batch of results very, very soon. And then hopefully we can also bring some other people on at some point as well. Yeah, but we're just getting the results fed in just a moment's time for the next area. Obviously, we've now got 3 independents, Polak, Jayden and Lewis. So all 5 independents being elected, that could be a first. We've just had the next set of results come in, all from Scotland, and the count is now completed in Scotland. Lothian is a For Britain gain. Strathclyde is a For Britain gain, which was and Tayforth is a For Britain gain, which was the seat of the Social Democrat leader, and now For Britain deputy leader Rue HR, who is now going to stay on likely within that seat. So he's kept his seat there. And the Scotland independent seat has been won by none other than Reba Asta. So 4 out of the 5 independent candidates have been elected. And For Britain seem to have a bit of a stronghold up in Scotland by the looks of things. So they've done very well up there. In fact, I do believe that is all the Scottish seats, besides, I think there was one of the Unionist seats was a Unionist hold, but most of them certainly are For Britain now. So quite the difference. But hopefully we can get another guest on in just a moment. I'll just have a little chat with my people to see if we've got any luck yet trying to find someone. Hopefully we'll have another independent or someone from Action on, because obviously Action seems to be doing particularly well. Or even potentially the Unionist Party as well. But yes, For Britain seem to have made quite the comeback there. They've now gone and secured a bunch of seats up in Scotland when they were originally falling behind for a bit of time there. So the Scottish count has completed, and For Britain, I do believe, should now be in the lead, I think, on 6 seats. 4 independents, 5 Action, National Democrats on 5 as well, and 2 Unionists. So For Britain have made a little bit of a comeback there and have now surpassed the other 2 parties. Of course, we've still got plenty of time to go, as all the remainder of the seats need to be announced. And we've had about 22 seats declared out of the 54 seats in total. So we will see who comes on in just a moment. If our people are able to find anyone from the Action Party or Unionist Party or Independents. If there is anyone there, get in contact with Hierarchy and he can get you added, as we need some candidates. Sorry, we need some different voices on, obviously we've had For Britain with Dean on, we've had National Democrats with Kingmaster, and we've had Lewis there as our first sort of independent coming on. So we'll have to see if we get anyone. But yeah, we will be waiting for the next few results to be coming through, hopefully at some point, as polling stations continue to add up. We are now not far off the halfway point, so we're getting a good idea of where things are. The Unionist Party do seem to be slipping behind, and for the first time since the party originally deregistered in December, the Unionist Party do seem to have dropped down to the bottom party. Although I suppose that was the last election, or the election before. They only contested one election before this one as Unionists. Obviously, they had Cavaliers for a couple of elections before, or any election before that. So they grew, and then they've slowly declined over the last few months. They made a gain last election, but they seem to be not doing too well at the moment, by the looks of things. And the other parties all seem to be tying neck and neck, although For Britain just holding a one-seat lead there at current. 4 independents, with Leah still left over to gamble on her seat. And with the way things are, I think that's a good indicator that all 5 independents are quite likely to be elected, with, I think, Leah polling quite well, if I do recall correctly within the polls. Obviously, she's won her seat in every election she's contested since January, I think it was. She first ran as an MP, so she's the only incumbent MP who is recontesting her seat as an independent, and it's quite likely she will win as well, which would put all 5 independents up as having won their seats, which would be a first, I think. Pretty sure the other ones lost seats. Or no, sorry, not the others. I think there's a few that missed out on a seat in the last sort of election. But yeah, it's looking very populated for the For Britain up in Scotland, and in the north, and then Action seems to be picking up seats across the country in a variety of different left-leaning areas. There's also a couple of For Britain seats in the south there as well, and then a couple of Unionist seats, one in the sort of Midlandsy sort of area, or just south, I suppose, but north of London, and then one up in Scotland as well. And then National Democrats seem to be doing quite well across the north, Midlands of England as well. So I can't really see, because there's a very bright light shining above the seat count within Westbridge on the camera, so it's being kept rather bright indeed. But we'll see how things. Oh, there we go. There's a better view now. But as you can see, lots of For Britain in the north and a couple of seats in the south. Obviously, doing very well in Scotland. National Democrats, they've got 1 in Scotland, 1 in the north, 1 in East Anglia, and then 2. Well, 1 in sort of 2 in the sort of south, or I don't know, west. 1 in the West Midlands and 1 in the sort of south, but just north of London. And then Action have got 3 in the north there, and Heartlands, and then 1 in the sort of south there as well. Or a couple in the south, rather. Okay, we should be having asimplistics from the National Democrat Party coming on in just a minute. We haven't been able to get anyone from the Unionist or Action parties or any other independents, I don't think. So we have asimplistics. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Hello.
It's good to have you on. So, how are you feeling? National Democrats are on 5 seats at the moment, I do believe.
Well, I'm really happy for the Nat Dems. I'm happy for the campaigners that pushed on. I've seen how well they've done, including me. But yeah, with 5 seats, of course we're gonna get more. But looking at the results so far, I am happy.
Speaking of results, we've got some more. So from Wales, we have got some more coming in. So you have to apologise, by the way, my pronunciation of Welsh destinations is awful. Dyfed is an Action Party gain, I think. Let me just confirm that. I'm pretty sure it was Action in the past. Yeah, so gain from the Social Democrats. Glamorgan, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that, is a For Britain gain, which was originally a Social Democrat seat, the seat for Jan 1443, a very well-known Social Democrat politician. Who has served as Justice Secretary God knows how many times. And then Montgomeryshire, which is historically always been a Unionist seat for as long as I can remember, and was the seat of Cam Dux most recently, is a National Democrat gain. So that puts For Britain on 7 seats, Action on 6 seats, and National Democrats on 6 seats. So you've gone up a seat. So now we're at the 6 or 7 seat mark. Sorry, I did have to drop that in there. Anyway, sorry, as you were saying, Simplistics.
Hello.
I
Right,
can't
like I
remember-
was saying, it's the early point of the election, but I'm really happy with the results so far.
Yeah, it's good. And obviously, you've won West Mercia again, which was your last seat, which I'm presuming you.
I think I might be going back to.
Oh, right. Okay. I
So
mean,
my
yeah,
rules say I'm being deported. Back to
fair enough. And that
Buckinghamshire.
was Mary Hill's seat originally. So yeah, now it seems you got it. I think
Yeah,
that was a national seat before that, wasn't it? At some point.
yeah, it was my seat for 91, 92 until it got taken away from me.
Okay, brilliant. So yeah, you've got it back. Well done. So how
Thank
are you feeling about coalition options then? Obviously, Kingmaster was very much pro-action and seemed quite against For Britain. Would you align with that sentiment, or do you have differing opinions? Obviously, I don't really know what the official stance is because obviously that's up to Baron to decide. But what's your thoughts on things?
Right, I can't speak for the party as a whole, but speaking in my own opinion, any party will do. But looking at other parties, we can all see that everyone doesn't want Dean to be the next prime minister. Nothing against him. I have nothing against him. But looking at all the
I mean,
other parties,
at the moment, in terms of seats, his party is winning. His party is quite orientated around him, so that's quite a bold claim there.
yeah, I know it's a quite bold claim, but look at all the posts they've made. All the other parties, except other than the Unionists. Okay, there's only 4 parties now, so to be honest, it was just the Action and the National Dems who've really gone against the idea of having Dean as in a coalition. I can't speak for the party itself, but it seems to me in the way that no one really wants Dean to be PM. No offense to him.
Why do you think that is? Why don't you think people want Dean to be PM?
Not being PM, just going in a coalition with him. Well, just look at the posts that people have been making.
Yes,
It just speaks for itself.
I mean, that does happen in elections. You make posts about your rival parties. The Social Democrats and National Party did it against each other in, a couple of elections ago, and then got into coalition together. The Cosmocrats, the Unionists, and Solidarity all made posts against each other, and then all got in a coalition. That's sort of how things generally do tend to go. You make attack.
Yeah, I know, but if you look at the Nat Dems posts, it's only been really about Dean.
Yes, this is true. I mean, they haven't. I suppose you could draw ties to the Cavalier and National era when they were sort of
Yeah, I remember.
didn't make posts about each other. Although when it comes to National Democrat posts, there's only a handful, so that's not too much to go off. But
yeah.
But I mean, also, what do you think the issue is with Dean? I mean, obviously you mentioned the post, but what's the specific issue why you think people wouldn't want to be in a coalition?
Well, you see, have you seen? I think it was when he first started campaigning, the policies that he said about the Westbridge Events Commission, saying it's a new policy when it was already out. I think Dean's getting a little too old for road politics, to be honest. No offense to him again.
Yeah, I mean, you can say, I mean, that is true. Dean is a long-standing, figure of politics.
Very old.
He's definitely done his time. Definitely very old, yeah. I mean, I wasn't even in politics when he joined. I was barely in the community when he joined. That was about 4 years ago. So he's been here for a long time. Which you're right. But on the other hand, all 4 party leaders are former prime ministers, and National Democrats do have former prime minister. I mean, you've got Harold, you've got Brighton in your ranks, so you do have a lot of old faces within the National Democrats, and you've got new faces within other parties as well. And it's the same. I mean, you've also got new faces within National Democrats. You've got your Northern Ireland secretary, who I've never heard of, but it's you're balancing things. So, yeah.
Yeah, what's up with you? Turning the page. What's up with you, Danny? Where have you gone, Adrian? Sorry.
I'm in For Britain at the moment, so I've been canvassing with them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at currently. Because I was going to run it. Well,
okay.
I was going to run an independent campaign, but that was more of a cover, right? I knew about For Britain for months. Not months, but
To be
8 months.
honest,
So
to be honest, I was
by the
thinking.
time I left government, I already knew about For Britain. So.
Yeah, to be honest, I was thinking about going as an independent, but to be honest, I went on holiday, so I wouldn't have the time to campaign and do stuff. So I don't know. I'll stay in that Dems for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm just going to bring in our next results then. So from Antrim and Londonderry, we have a National Democrat gain, which was originally a what was that originally? That was a National Party seat, so you've held on to that. Action Party is Tyrone and South Down, which is a Action Party hold. It was originally the seat of Findog, so he's kept on to a seat. And the 5th and final independent has won her seat, Leah VNX. So that is all of the Northern Irish seats completed, and she has held on to her seat. So well done to Leah. All 5 independents have been elected.
Wow.
Cornwall and Devon West is a For Britain gain, which was originally a Cosmocrat seat, funnily enough. And Dorset is a National Democrat gain, which was originally a National Party seat. So they've still held on to that. Was Yeppie BT's seat. So yeah, the Northern Ireland count is done, and the Cotswolds, which is the last seat as well, here is a National Democrat gain from the Unionists, which is vacant at the time of reporting this, although it was recently held by Daniel Hunton prior to his election, just before the election. So there was no local by-election to find a new candidate. So they've now got a new National Democrat MP. So Unionists seeing quite a lot of losses there to the National Democrats. So that seems to be their primary opponent. And For Britain have picked up a seat there as well. So it seems to be rather close between the top 3 parties at the moment, on 8 and 7 seats each. But yeah, anyway, thanks for coming on, Simplistic. It's been good to have you on. Oh, if you've got
Can I have
anything
one comment?
to say, yeah, of course, go on, mate.
Okay, but my final statement is really looking away from my party. I have to look at the Unionist, to be honest. Looking at his leader, the Chocolate Place, to be honest, I've had his rivalries. But looking at the results so far, looking at previous results as well, I'm not predicting that the Unionists will get a lot of seats. So I think Chocolate needs to do something about changing leaderships or something, because the past few elections, okay, the last election was decent enough, but the election before that, how many seats did he get? When it was I don't remember, was it the Social Democrats?
A Unionist got 11 seats last election and 10 the election before when they were Cavaliers.
Yeah, no, it was the Nats and Social Democrats. It was 6, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. If the Unionists get below 5 seats, I think the Unionists need to look at their own party and itself.
Well, I think they need to find a way to get there. If they lose, obviously, any party that will do that will have to look at themselves. But anyway, thanks for coming on to Simplistics.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Good to have you on, and do take care. We will be bringing on
You too.
our next guest in just a moment, which is none other than Michael Rothschild, a former Prime Minister and who teased bringing back a party in the form of Greg's party, allegedly, but has not launched it. So, hello, Michael. How are we?
Hey, who's this? Sorry, I'm driving at the moment, and I can't see who's on the show.
Oh, it's Adrian.
Oh, Adrian.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks, mate. Right, so Unionists, I'm assuming you're still got your hand involved with the Unionists.
I do, but I have made it clear that I'm not speaking as a party rep, more of just a political presenter, as I have done with ITV's Election Night with a K.
Okay, that's fair enough. But what do you think about the current results? At the moment, we've got For Britain on 8 seats, Unionist Party on 2 seats, the National Democrats leading on 9 seats, and Action on 7 seats. What's your sort of reaction to that?
Well, I think it's as expected. At the moment, I just wanted to say that the YouGov exit poll, I think it's probably going to be accurate. I reckon it is going to be pretty close between the Facebook Party and the National Democrats. And I think Action Party will be the kingmakers here, which I'm quite concerned about, as I'm sure you'll understand, Adrian, that I haven't really been the biggest fan of CC Investor. Not that I'm going to start slating him on here. That's not in the business of doing that.
Michael, quickly. We'll get back to that in just a moment. We've had a ton of results just come in. So first off, Bromley and Croydon, which was your seat originally, when I do believe for a long time, which with the Unionists managed to gain last election, has now fallen to the National Democrats. So National Democrat gained for the Unionists, Bromley and Croydon. Cities of London and Westminster is a For Britain gain from the Social Democrats. Dagenham and Redbridge is a For Britain gain from the Social Democrats. Hertfordshire is a For Britain gain from the... they've put Nat Dem here, but that doesn't sound quite right to me. Let me just go and check myself where that was from. That was a Cosmocrat seat. So Hertfordshire is a For Britain gain from the Cosmocrats. Norfolk is a National Democrat gain from the Unionists. That was my seat last term. South Essex is a National Democrat gain from National. That's usually a National safe seat. Leicester and Northants is a Unionist gain from National, putting the Unionist Party on 3 seats, I do believe. And Lincolnshire is a Unionist gain from Nationals. So again, that was historically always been the National Party leader's seat for both the Right-On and Kingmaster. That is a Unionist gain from National. So Unionists have fought back a little bit there and now sat on 4 seats. But yeah, anyway, as you were saying,
so I am concerned that the Action Party might be the kingmakers in all this, but a little hope is there for me that I just hope the Facebook Party and National Democrats, they do a coalition of national interest, because I'm sure you know, Adrian, nothing's been done with the private sector. Dean Heathcote, I'm very happy he reached out to me, not only as a campaigner, but also as a colleague in the private sector, hoping that we can try and figure out something. I'm more than happy to return to government as an economic advisor, as my previous role as the economy czar, to help out whichever government is going to be in. But I don't think I'll do that if Action Party go into government and take the role of Chancellor, because I just don't think I can work with CC Investor again. I mean, it's fine, you know, he's kind of learning the ropes again. I'll give him that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But we have 2 different working styles, and I can't really risk working with him again. I mean, I put quite a lot of my reputation behind the last government, and obviously with the Grommet Awards being botched, with like, what was it, like 6, maybe 7 companies getting added to that were completely inactive, including the New York Times, which hasn't made any posts since Tom Mullins got rid of it. It's something I'm not willing to risk again. I think I'm much more happy to just work with my colleagues and Times to try and get through this terrible recruitment crisis that is facing the entire sector. But in regards to the unionists, I think it is a bit disappointing what's happened to them. I mean, obviously, Chocolate Boy, I would say he's done his best. He hasn't done anything wrong except have a life. He's obviously been pretty busy with his job in the real world. He works full time and he just doesn't have the same colleagues around him as he did before that can push him over the line. Or even, to at least third party. But I think the unionists are probably going to be last.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate prediction. I mean, they're currently sat on 4 seats, and then you've got National Democrats and For Britain leading the way at about 12 and 11. And as you said earlier, I think it's quite likely that the exit poll is probably going to be quite accurate. So the Unionist Party, it does look very bleak indeed. They are potentially facing deregistration. I think they need to get 2 more seats, I think it is, to get over the line. Although I think it's a percentage, isn't it? It's I can't remember what it is. I think it's 7% now or 11%. I can't remember. Something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, as
Hold on, Adrian. Hold on. I think there's a ranger that's right behind me. I think I'm going to get pulled over. But listen, I'll get on to you soon. All right. See you later.
All right. See you, mate. Take care. Well, that was Michael Rothschild, folks. A former Prime Minister and up until recently, economic star. That's quite well timed because we just had the latest batch of results come in from the EC. And right is a National Democrat gain from the Unionist Party. Medway is a National Democrat gain from National. For Britain has just gained Oxfordshire from the Cosmocrat Party. Portsmouth and Sussex West is a For Britain gain from the Cosmocrat Party. Surrey is a National Democrat gain from the National Party. And the Weald of Kent is a Unionist gain from the Nationals. So that is all of South East England has just come in. So a whole bunch of seats there we've just got. And the Unionists are on 5 seats now, I do believe. So they've managed to catch up a little bit. 5. I'm just being told it's 10% for them to get in. So it's about now. They should just scrape over the threshold, but may not. We'll see. But yeah, so just join us now in the studio. We have Mikkel from the Action Party. So it's good to have an Action voice on for a change.
Thanks.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really well, thanks. So obviously you ran as an independent last election and you've now come back to the Action Party. What's your sort of thoughts behind doing that?
Well, I didn't want to run again. As I said last time, I would be a one-term independent. I decided to run because my time in the party was over for the time. And then I returned to Solidarity, now the Action Party. Because, it felt right.
Yeah. Cool. What made the time feel right then? What was it about the Action Party that you like at the moment?
Well, there's not a single thing I like about the party. There's many things. First off, I was one of the founding members of Solidarity, then evolved into the Action Party after Zachary took over and Vulcan resigned. So it was more because of the backstory, Solidarity, which I was leader of, and then Action. So it's just a return home, you can say.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, you have come back to Action. I won't elaborate too much because I do think we're going to get some more results in just a moment. I can see Zarkos typing away. So we should be getting the latest results from the Electoral Commission in just a moment. Obviously, we are nearing, I think we're probably over halfway at this stage. I'm just doing a bit of maths off the top of my head from looking at things. I think we're about sort of just over 40-ish seats, I think. Yeah, that'll be about right. So we're coming up close to the sort of last few seats. It's looking like the exit poll could be very accurate indeed. We've got 4 seats just come in here from the north. Leeds is an Action gain from the Social Democrats. North Yorkshire is a Unionist gain from the National Party. Merseyside is an Action Party gain from the Social Democrats. And South Lancashire is an Action Party hold. So Action Party are actually doing quite well here. You've just gained 3 seats there. So I think that puts you on to 10 now. So how are you feeling about Action's performance so far?
I mean, if I could have my own will, then it would be 100% Action Party, but that probably won't happen in the near future. But I think it's going well. We have had some, as is known by Solidarity, it goes up, it goes down, then it turned into the Action Party, it goes up, it will probably go down in the future, but it will go up again. That's how it is for most parties. So I think this is one of the up elections.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've already made. I think you've already gone past what you got last time. I think it was 7
We
seats.
have.
Was what Action had last time. So you've now gained 3 seats. The exit poll put you on 14, which would be the record for Action so far, and Solidarity as well, of course.
Yes.
So you're doing quite well. Now, if we look at coalition options, who is it? An open mind, or is there anyone in specific that you're looking to?
Well, the night is young. There's still many things that can change. We could, for example, gain all the rest of the seats and then become the largest party, but there's many things that can change. Right now, I'm just looking at the beautiful pink wall that is splitting, the mid-England to the north of England and Scotland. It's just beautiful, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of progress up north by the looks of things. You've got very concentrated, very obviously a couple, loose cannons here and there. National Democrats seem to be doing quite well across the sort of South and Midlands and East Anglia. A Unionist Party seems to be all over the place, and then For Britain seems to be particularly well in Scotland and the South. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Very concentrated vote there. I think we're just about to receive the next sort of batch come through in a moment from the Electoral Commission. So we shall see how.
But I think looking at it, I think the Unionists have had their gloried age. They have had their better days. They ended up gaining how many members? It was under 20, wasn't it, in this election? It was around 10 to 20 total members we gained. That should not.
Oh, hang on. We've got a count just come in. So Suffolk, my homeland, the Adrian J. Williams homeland. This is my first seat with 4-star. Is a Unionist gain from the National Party. Of course, they have to win it as soon as I leave the party. Bloody hell. Derbyshire is a For Britain gain from the Cosmocrats. And Birmingham is an Action hold, which has always historically been the leadership seat. Zach had it, you had it, I think, and ZC have it at the moment as well. So he can continue to pass that tradition on through the party. But currently, I think that puts you on 11 seats, doesn't it? So you're doing quite well.
The reason that we had the tradition is when Zach eventually got banned for what he did, then I just took the seat, and that's how the tradition started. And I hope it continues. But if we lose Birmingham, then we're changing to Northern Ireland. Then it's then we're gonna make a Findog the leader. Yes, and then the Unionists will be happy.
I see. I mean, yeah, it's funny. You've got 2 sort of wings to the Action Party now. You've got ZC and Teaspoon and that lot have come in, and now you've got the sort of traditional wing, and they seem to have worked on quite well together. It seems to be very sort of united, as it were. Now Persian has just had his ban lifted, or restrictions lifted, national security ban lifted. Is he now, as a former sort of friend and ally of Teaspoon and ZC, are we likely to see him joining the Action Party?
I mean, looking at what TBU said, it's not likely that he will have his politics ban lifted. So I don't think he's going to return to politics in the near future.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's still got the politics ban, isn't
Yeah.
he? Oh, we've just got. So I've just been sent. Apparently, the from GB News, sources are saying the Electoral Commission are currently investing the Bradford vote count, which I think was an Action Party seat for family voting. I do believe a National Democrat seat went for Britain after being. It was Richmond upon Thames got recounted for family voting. So yeah, there's confirmation there from TBU. Saying apparently it's under investigation. I've also been told Reba Astor is under investigation. I haven't seen any concrete proof, but yes. Okay, I've just been told his Persian's politics ban remains. Okay, I didn't know it was
Yeah.
he had it. But that is confirmed, so we're not likely to see him anytime soon. But yes. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Well, have you got anything else to add on then, Mikhail?
Only that I want to congratulate Leah and Reba. Best independent MPs in a long time.
Yeah, no, I think they've done very well. It's really
Second
nice.
best Northern Irish MP.
Oh
ever,
yes.
I just want to say.
Yeah, yeah, that was true. We had the two Northern Ireland MPs. But yeah, that seems to be how things are. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Of course.
It's been good to have you, and do take care. Apparently, we have our next guest all lined up, so I have no idea who that is, but we shall see who they send into the audio. But do take care anyway. Nice to have you on.
Thanks. You too.
But just before we do bring our next guest on, I think we're getting the count from the EC, which I do believe is going to be the final batch of results. So that's quite nicely timed. As you can see on the map, we only have a handful of seats that haven't been announced yet. So is a National Democrat gain from the Unionist Party. Warwickshire is a National Democrat gain from the Unionist Party, and that is where they are at the moment. The last results will come on later on. But there we go, that's 2 National Democrat gains from the Unionist Party. Now, who have we just had arrive in the studio? We've just had Blair arrive. Hello, Blair. How are you doing?
Yes, hello. I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So, how are you feeling about the For Britain results so far? Obviously, you've managed to secure 14 seats. The National Democrats are on 17 seats. There are still 4 seats left to go, which will come out in the final batch. Do you think that you can do well in those final 4 seats? How do we think we're going to do?
Well, and I think we're going to do quite all right in those seats. I've been watching the results as they've come in. These 4 seats remaining, we've had some of the strongest ground game out of these seats. Throughout the voting period, we've had a very good get out the vote campaign. It's shown us that our voters are more motivated and more active than any other party. I believe we've had over 70% of our server confirm that they have gone out and voted. Now, mind you, this is maybe my 7th or 8th campaign that I am running on the behalf of Dean. Not in a single one of the Labour wins that we got, not even in the majority of September 2022, have we had 70% of a party Discord server come out to vote for us. So I think it's been quite a positive night for us on the ground game.
That's very good. Now, you still got time to win, potentially. If you manage to secure the last 4 seats, that would put you on 18 seats.
Yeah.
National Democrats on 17 seats. So it's not quite the majority that Dean was initially aiming for there, but it's not a bad result at all for a new party that's come along.
Well,
and the current state of things, it's quite a good amount. If you do get an amount, of course, it's up to be contested, but you sound quite hopeful.
Well, and I am quite hopeful, and yes, there has been a few issues with the momentum throughout the campaign, most notably the banning of my Discord account that I've had for over 10 years. If you'd like to DM me, please DM the new account at TonyBlair2. But yes, there's been a little bit of setback in momentum, but I think in the last few days, we've really recaptured that momentum. Let me remind everybody that we are the only party to have done 2 rallies on Westbridge, let alone 1. So we are the party for Britain. We are the party of Westbridge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how's you're right. You have got a very out there campaign. You had all your rallies and so on with Dean sort of leading those, which no other party has done since the September general election, I do believe. So how's the response been in game? Have you had quite a good response in Westbridge?
Well, and it's been a very positive response in Westbridge. One of the factoids that came across my desk yesterday, we had our rally in Westbridge. We started with the server at 30 players. By the end of the rally, or somewhere in the middle of the rally, we were up to 75 players. I mean, we are the only party that has done anything for activity in Westbridge whatsoever. So the response has been very positive. It's been very positive, yes, on a partisan side, but it's also been very good for the community as well. That's what we've always wanted to frame this campaign about. We've wanted to frame the campaign around the idea that we're out here to deliver for the community, to build on the momentum of a newly reinvigorated Westbridge. And I'm happy to say that regardless of the result, that's what we've done.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you saw what time to go. We spoke to Dean earlier about coalition options, and he said he's very open to things. We've had different things coming from different parties. Actions say they're open to things. And Kingmaster from the National Democrats was leading more towards action, although Asimplistic said that he's quite open to things. We don't really know what the top answer from all the top of the party leadership is. Obviously, Kingmaster is the deputy leader there. But Baron has the sort of ultimate say over things, so it really could go either way. For Britain is definitely on the running there to form a government, and as is National Democrats in Action. So it's quite close by the looks of things. So yeah, I suppose with that, have you got anything else to add on?
Anything else to add on to coalitions? No, not particularly.
Or just in general, because we are supposed to be getting the last set of results very soon.
Well, I feel like those last few results will dictate everything, right? It'll determine who's the largest party. It'll determine who's in the best possible front to form government. But that being said, if the results hold as they are, frankly, Dean has the experience to form a government in the interests of activity in this community, and that's ultimately what we need.
Absolutely. Right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Blair, and do take care. Of course, wish you good luck. I mean, obviously I'm in your party, but I wish you luck to all the candidates as a presenter.
Yes. And
yes,
if I may, just before I go, I'd like to congratulate all 5 independents on getting elected and for putting their names forward as individuals. It's very difficult for a group of 5 people to get 300-something, 350, I believe the number was, people out to vote. So I'd like to congratulate all of them. They've done a very good job.
Absolutely. Right. Well, thank you very much, Blair, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, we should
We'll see you around.
Absolutely, mate. Right, we should be getting the last few results coming through in just a moment. There is 5 more seats, no, 6 more seats that need to be declared, I think. So we will hear from the Electoral Commission very shortly, hopefully, with the last set of seats. So we're just waiting on the results to come through for the last set, and this will decide who will lead the next government. It will have to be a coalition government because no party has been able to form a majority, but who will be the leader of that coalition could very be easily determined by the results that we hear in the next few moments, and then from there the parties will have to negotiate a coalition. So the first seat we have is Nottinghamshire. Is an Action gain from the Social Democrats. So that has put Action up to 12 seats. Again, For Britain only a 2-seat lead over Action. And Bolton and Oldham is a Action gain from the Social Democrats, putting up to 13 seats. For Britain narrowly holding a 1-seat margin above them, and the National Democrats holding 3 seats above For Britain currently. The next seat is due to come in any second now. but that is 2 action gains, so it's a very close contest. Cheshire is a For Britain gain from the Cosmocrats Party, and Cumbria is a For Britain gain from the Unionist Party. So that is where we are currently in terms of seats, and I've been told that's all of the seats declared. I'm pretty sure that's all of them, so I think there should be one more on the map, but I'm not sure. Wait, no, I think we're finished. But yeah, end of. So Action Party sits on 13 seats, National Democrat on 17 seats, For Britain on 17 seats, and the Unionists on 7 seats. So the exit poll was actually very accurate there. The National Democrat for Britain gets exactly 17 seats, the only margin being, National Democrat for Britain 17 seats, the only margin being Action on 13 rather than 14, and Unionists on 6 rather than 7. So that's not bad at all. So the end result, Action 13, National Democrat 17, For Britain 17, and the Unionists on 17 seats. So that's a tie between the National Democrats and For Britain. A very close election indeed between those two parties. A very closely fought contest. So who will be the Prime Minister? Well, that will be the subject of debate in the hours to come. Party leaders and party boards, leadership, etc. will convene together to discuss coalition negotiations, who's going to take what job, who's going to lead what ministry, and who will be the next Prime Minister. That will come within the next hours that follow. And I'd imagine there'll be some pretty tough negotiations. The Action Party saying they're open to things, For Britain saying they're open to things, and contradicting things from the National Democrats, but potentially leading more pro-action, having just come out of a coalition government with them. So we will see what happens there. The total results, including the numbers, have just been released, or haven't been released yet, or they have come out. There we go, the results. Let's have a look. So the National Democrats received a total of 146 seats, so 33.10% of the vote. For Britain received 148 votes, so 2 votes above the National Democrats, meaning they have won the election as the largest party in terms of the total popular vote, and have achieved 31.60% of the total vote. The Action Party has won 106 votes, at 22.60% share of the total popular vote, and the Unionist Party won 55 votes there, plummeting a lot from their previous, I think it was 80 odd votes, on 11.70%, meaning that they will stay in the House of Commons. So I'm sure that will be a relief for them, even though they've made some losses. There was a lot of doubt as to whether or not they meet the threshold of 10% required to sit in Parliament. So they've lost 3 seats, but they are staying on within Parliament. And although whether they'll be part of a coalition government looks unlikely at this stage. So a total party votes received was 509 votes total, which I think is the most we've received in a while. 469 valid votes, 14 ballots spoiled, 40 votes discarded, I'd imagine many of which came from the family voting recount in Richmond upon Thames. And then if we look at the regional vote for independent candidates, Jayden won 47 votes in London, so 14% of the share. Leo VNX, standing in Northern Ireland, won 72 votes and 21.40% of the vote share. Lewis, standing in Yorkshire, won 58 votes and 17.30% of the vote share for independents. Reba Asta, standing in Scotland, won the most number of votes, 76, so just 4 votes above Leah, with 22.60% share of the total popular vote for independents. Polak, 3, again very close there, won 70 votes at 20.80% within Wales. So 361 votes total, 336 valid votes, 13 spoiled ballots, and 25 discarded votes. With an independent threshold of 31 votes, meaning that they're all quite comfortably elected into Parliament. And obviously, you can see on the screen how that's been distributed amongst the parties. So all 5 independents, National Democrats and For Britain on 17 seats, 13 for Action, and 7 seats for the Unionists. So what will follow will be a very interesting negotiation, of course. But yeah, that's where we are in terms of votes. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching this BBC election night, brought to you by the BBC and CNN, as well as myself as the private contractor for this. I've been Adrian J. Williams here live from the BBC studios here in London. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Please stay tuned for the broadcast. I hope you have a lovely rest of the evening. In the hours to follow, we will find out who will become Britain's next Prime Minister after the coalition negotiations are finalised. And watch out, folks, it'll be a very interesting set indeed. So it should take a few hours, I'd imagine. With that, have a lovely rest of the evening. Thank you very much from BBC live in London. Thank you and good evening. Yeah, that went pretty well.